life. There's no longer the time where we're going to have some fun games at the end of the split, because every game matters in some shape or form, because we are at the point where the league is top level in terms of professionalism.
Absolutely neck and neck. Here now as we get the dramatic intro for Champion Select. In a few minutes, a strange man will start screaming in your ear, and you'll know it's time for pick and ban, folks. That's right. There's the strange man. There's the whoa-oh-ohs. We're ready. But we have to see, Yamato, because it is a question. You're right. There's no more time for messing around. We're not going to see the fun games. Despite that, I do still feel like we might see a bit more of this scrim meta show through.
Yeah, some flair.
There's nothing holding these guys back anymore.
For sure.
It's everything on the table.
Maybe some one tricks showing up. You know, Finn has been playing his Kled, and maybe some of these players have some one trick that we don't know about. This is the time to show it. This is the time to show up. Rakan ban, blue side standard stuff.
Yeah, nothing too crazy so far. Have to see how many target bans, how many respect bans we get, or if it's just going to be classic OPs. The Karthus, also very strong. I like taking away from Trick generally. Didn't have the craziest game on that one, but did put up some decent numbers there in the early game.
Ornn still open, that's always the question mark. Oh, never mind.
And Karthus Ornn, I think kind of the standard red side bans that we saw all day yesterday. I'm wondering what the first pick priority is going to be here. We saw in yesterday's game that Crownshot was still the focus. They were willing to give him that first pick. All the OP 80 carries are still up.
Oh.
Do we see a fasting Senna? No, but we're probably going to see an Aphelios, maybe something else here.
Yeah, the key thing with the Aphelios is that you can't set up a composition that's so good against it. We saw Fnatic with the Zac, with the Gangplank. Aphelios is not that mobile, but maybe limit, you know, we're talking about exciting picks. Maybe he's going to pick up Tom Coco. Why not?
It's not exciting. I know it's your first day, but that's the exact opposite, Yamato. That's not what we don't want to see, but you said it, and it feels like Schalke taking a page out of the Fnatic book here, because it is immediately the Gragas, immediately the Misfortune, and if we see a GP to round it out, it'll be a carbon copy, I believe, of the first three from that Fnatic draft. And Crownshot's really not going to get to play the game if these champions get off the ground.
Okay, Pantheon flex. I like it. They're hovering the more. Oh, there's the GP. Good takeaway. I like it. Because honestly, if you let Schalke take GP here, Aphelios is not going to play the game. So I like the takeaway.
Aphelios, obviously. The thing that I like now is that they also have some dive on the side of SK Gaming and Misfortune. Not the same as Aphelios. Obviously, you guys can just kind of get a push R and back away. It's not going to be a big deal here, but does limit the effectiveness there. And Schalke now probably expecting to get their hands on the GP.
Oh, no Aatrox.
This would be interesting. Vladimir now locked in.
That's new.
Obviously going to go toe-to-toe with the likes of the GP. Now, how do you feel about Vladimir, Yamato Cannon? Because to me, it's obviously there's dream scenarios in late game where you get to one-shot an entire team, but it feels so hard to get there.
I feel like it takes so much time, as you said. You know, the GP comes online so early on, and we have the early Drakes, the early Rift Heralds. But when we look at these two teams, if you are in a position where you can take a step back and you don't need to be proactive, you're probably at the advantage, because these two teams aren't usually the most explosive ones, but it might change very, very fast.
Scaling, always a solid option. Interesting that they're taking away Abbedagge's Cassio, so limiting the comfort picks that he can bring to the table. Braum now the other option to try to make sure that Crownshot is as vulnerable as possible on the bottom side. Maybe we see the Tom Kench banned. Maybe that's how deep we are into the defensive picks here.
There we go. I guess Thresh is left. Thresh would be the pick to go for. Probably we'll see Schalke just picking Nautilus fourth, leaving last pick for mid lane. The tricky part here is about blind picking on blue side. Usually we see Azir, Orianna, but there are a lot of counters that teams can play. Maybe an Echo, maybe some AD champions, because right now Schalke is very, very AP heavy, and Yasuo is also an option.
And Abbedagge, we've seen, I'd say, a mixed bag as far as performances go. We've seen from solo queue, he can play the champion, he's got the mechanics. We've also seen that him and the enemy first-tier tower are on a first-name basis. He likes to spend a lot of time there, which is not a good look when you're trying to carry a game on Yasuo.
It's also a lot easier because this Pantheon is a blue side pick, so we're going to see if he goes to jungle in the mid lane, and then Schalke will have an easy time just locking in that mid lane pick.
And as you said, just as predicted, Yamato, the Nautilus has now been locked in. Going to make it much more difficult to play that Aphelios, but Limit will have the Thresh, offering a bit more protection, offering the Lantern as well. And now the final pick, the puzzle that you talked about, the blue side blind pick. What are they going to opt for here?
So there's Elise as an option, but I don't like that too much, or just send Pantheon into the jungle and pick a Diana. Works.
All right, Jenax on another melee mid laner. We're pretty much set to have the GP versus Vladimir topside matchup. I want to see what Trick can get done. We saw aggressive Trick yesterday. It was a refreshing change of pace, but have to see if he can keep that pace up
Well, he needs to. With Pantheon, he scales a bit better than he used to, but Pantheon means early action, early dives. Okay. The Abbedagge special. I mean, the Jenax special on Abbedagge, because Jenax is the one that plays a lot of set. I like it.
It's a big confident pick, though, to pick it into someone who loves playing this champion so much. And the melee matchup is going to be very miserable, you have to imagine, for Jenax here, at least in the early game. Very difficult to trade onto set or really any of these juggernauts. Although they're taking their sweet time on the swaps back and forth.
So in a case where there was no name tags, I would say right away this is heavy on the 2v2 mid lane. You have the Set and the Diana. It means a melee matchup which is going to be very explosive. Both mid laners need to walk on that wave and then spread that pressure into that bottom side, because as we see on bottom side, there's a lot of setup. We have Thresh, Nautilus. If these teams get to fight first and get there first as a 4v2, beautiful, and they can snowball from there.
But Yamato, Diana in the jungle.
Okay.
Not something that I was necessarily prepared for.
LCK special, I guess.
Yeah, really mixing it up here, actually, on the side of SK Gaming. So we're going to have to keep an eye, because you said jungle 2v2, all important, something that's easy for us to look out for. But Diana jungle, a bit of a wild card here. We wanted to see if teams were going to show us something new, something special that they might have cooked up from scrims, and there it is from the side of SK. They're still not picking Nunu, my friend. I'm sorry. You put so much effort into that outfit. It's not, it just hasn't happened. Maybe G2 Fnatic. I doubt it, though. But the man on your screen, and the rest of the Schalke lineup looking to prove something as they go toe-to-toe against SK Gaming in our first game of the day. Both lineups ready for a fight here. Something new in the jungle, something spicy. Gonna have to see how it plays out.
So Diana is, I assume this is the first Diana we saw.
Gaming versus Schalke, and that video. Now, Yamato, Diana jungle. Talk to me. What do you see?
Honestly, it's the first one we've seen in the LEC, saw some in the LCK. I don't like it too much, but it has been buffed on 10.4, so it definitely helps her clear speed. She scales pretty well, and I guess the big benefit from her rework is the fact that she has a dash already on level 3. So she makes more sense than she used to, because you can actually gap close and fight. But if Diana gets ahead and she gets to snowball, the AP jungle item is very good to clear with, and you get to enjoy that privilege. You're going to win the 1v1 against Gragas at almost any point in the game because of Conqueror.
But the question for me is this the same kind of fast-paced early game champion that we can expect out of a Pantheon, or are we expecting a much slower game now from Trick? Because I liked yesterday Trick. I want to see yesterday's Trick again here versus Schalke, where he is a ganking mid lane at level 3. He's making these big aggressive plays.
It's just that in the context of the teams, I sincerely doubt it. I feel like as the privilege with Diana is that you can, in fact, do some full clears and be happy with it because you're not going to fall off like some of the other champions. I mentioned Elise earlier that would have put SK at risk of just falling off too early. But when I compare the two compositions, I feel like Schalke have a very easy time of dealing with any type of melee champions coming at them. You have the Vladimir, the Gragas E, the Set loves it when people run into him. And on SK's side, you have 3 melee champions. So SK needs to maneuver those team fights in a very unique way. And it will come down to that early game if they can actually use the Pantheon to snowball that Aphelios.
For now, relatively even across the lane, still very, very early on. We have to keep an eye on individual matchups. Obviously, Odoamne and Sacre on the top side, not necessarily where we expect to see the most action, as it's just GP Vlad, a Grass Pock traded for a Hemo, or rather a transfusion there. Not a lot else will go down. The mid lane, though, Abbedagge definitely struggling here on the first few levels.
Pantheon's definitely a beast early on. He can easily trade because he's a champion that functions without an ultimate, and Abbedagge is going to have a better time later. But the most OP part about Set, the thing that most top laners complain about, because mid lane meta is not really there yet with Set, is that he has too much HP regen. He just has so much, and definitely on this patch before the armor nerfs and the HP regen nerfs, this matchup becomes a lot easier. With the Dorian Shield, okay.
Pull back, level 3 coming in as well. Now for both sides, but I mean, you said it. Abbedagge walks out of the lane, pops a pot, instantly back up to about 60% health. Can just ignore a lot of that Pantheon poke to push the wave in. Top lane, though, a bit of a different story, as Odoamne is just going to get harassed here. I feel like we need at least 20% cooldown reduction before Vladimir really gets to play the game.
This is just a phase where Pantheon and GP need to build a snowball. The key thing to mention here with GP and Vladimir matchup is usually what you want to do if you want to win with GP, you need to go Mob Mortius, you need to go Mercuries, you need to get heavy MR, but you really can't because in that situation where set matches you, all of a sudden all of those items are kind of pointless and you need to be more careful with how you itemize.
And that means the lane assignments as we move further are going to be more and more important. Lurox will clear out the Scuttle Crab on the bottom side. Jenax laying down a little bit of vision. I like what we're seeing from SK so far. Priority in 2 out of the 3 lanes. Only bot lane really getting pushed in here by Dreams and Innaxe, but looks like Crownshot and Limit may be able to hold the freeze. Not quite perfectly, but already now set up quite well. And now, if we're asking Trick to be more aggressive to get something done in the early game, and now I'm looking at Lurox as well. He's backed. He's got the Predator boots. Where does this guy actually want to go? Because there's setup in mid lane. There's definitely setup in bot lane. Top lane's an island, as we've already said, but where is the first little bit of action going to come through on?
I just hope it comes down on bottom. We saw Misfortune doing that little cheater base where she just bases with her passive, jogs back with that. Actually, she didn't base. I think she should have. I think it was a mistake. Definitely go for that base there, get that double longsword and enjoy. Have a bit of an advantage before the Aphelios BF, and these are the intricate details of usually Aphelios Misfortune matchup. You need to get ahead somehow.
Because for now, you can see, I mean, suffering in CS, so may have had an opportunity to get a few more items under his belt, but for now it's just going to get pushed in here. Do their best to catch the wave. Abbedagge burning all of his cooldowns. Trick just now walking to mid lane. Has killed the Scuttle Grab. Lurox is here as well. Of course, Trick with the red buff versus the blue buff on Gragas. More combat stats for Trick, but this just seems like the handshake. Both sides backing off the mid lane. Abbedagge is going to retreat. Laning stats relatively even, but Crownshot, we've said it before, one of the stronger points on this SK lineup is winning in CS right now. They're winning in pressure on the bottom side, and he's going to back and get that boots too, rather than the BF sword here, it looks like, just to stop himself from getting all in.
It's going to be tricky because maybe Misfortune is going to have enough gold for the BF sword, and that can shift something like an early Drake, the early Rift Herald swap on that GP old timer. I think it's going to be, honestly, is it? Oh,
1,200? Just 100 off.
almost okay.
So we might get a pickaxe, so not the end of the world. Could also opt for boots too, although Misfortune with the W basically free Mobies, so no real reason to commit the resources that early on. And at this stage of the game, I think if you're... Both these sides are just content. I think we're just waiting for level 6.
I feel like that Pantheon ult, the GP ult timer is going to be a very key one, because if they don't use that at all, I feel like Schalke's comp just outscales across the board. Maybe Aphelios has some opportunities there, but I think it all comes down to that big dive, the big play on the bottom side.
Yeah, if you told me in a late game team fight I can have a GP ult or a Vladimir ult, I would probably take the Vladimir every time. Early mid game though, GP ult is so oppressive, and especially once Diana gets level 6 and the setup is just there. It's so simple. But for now, we talked about teams playing for their life, and I feel like they're taking us a little too seriously, Yamato. They're not taking any risks here. There's no one wants to do anything that could get them caught out or killed.
I have a wave stacking. Diana's on bottom side. Pantheon can posture into bottom. Maybe we'll see a dive. This is a good time to do it. Gragas not in position. We have a set TP lined up, but nothing. Nothing.
Taking the sweet time. Won't count against them too much. Lurox now moving on the bottom side is just going to be able to clear out a little vision. All of the incredible amount of defensive vision here for Schalke is crazy to me. Just looking on that bottom side, red side jungle. Yeah, that is a lot committed just to make sure that your bot lane does not get dove. The Jenax is forced to use an ultimate here.
If I was a betting man every time, I would just choose the team that requires less proactivity in such a matchup.
And so Schalke?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oof. Then the question becomes, how long, Yamato?
How long?
I mean, it's 7 minutes into the game, but when is Schalke? Because at level 6, we talked about it. You got Pantheon ult to be scared of. That Jenax already level 7. Sacre level 7. We're waiting now for these ultis to come down somewhere. But if you're on the side of Schalke, what are you waiting for? You scaling? Is it Gragas level 6 that you need to get started, or are you just kind of trying to play back and minimize the impact of this GP ult, of this Pantheon ult?
Or just GP with the wave. My goodness. Odoamne smurfing. Because that's a key ability right there, and that just saved them another 3 minutes. And to wait talking about key moments for Schalke, I think definitely whenever they reach 2 items. Oh!
Flash in. Bit of a questionable flash ulti there from Trick. I think had the timing on E-ing in, but did not respect Abbedagge's ability to just flash away from that one. So a bit of a small fumble. And that is going to be 2 major ultimates burned now, along with Trick's flash here on the side of SK. So we said Schalke want to sit back. They're going to be very set up to do so for at least the next few minutes. Really only Innaxe the one to suffer as Crownshot gets to the wave first, and Innaxe is just starting to fall further and further behind against the Cephalios.
I think always if Schalke are playing a good defensive game, they ward up, they play safe, they rotate the right way to make the defensive play. It's very important that SK actually take those objectives. The Cloud Drake on bottom side wasn't taken. That is going to slow down SK in the mid to late game in order to reach that point where they get that soul. Because usually when you see a Cloud Drake, you get happy because that increases your odds of the Infernal, increases the odds of the Ocean Drake as well. But now the Cloud Drake is still alive and Rift Herald is the next play. I hope SK do something aggressive for this one.
Also, ultimate cooldown reduction, not bad to have on this team. If it's ultimate cooldown reduction into Infernal, that's essentially a dream for this composition, for this lineup. The GP, the Pantheon would love to have a lot more uptime on the global and semi-global respectively. But for now, it's really just a vision dance. Going back and forth, laying down a few wards here in the jungle limit, trying to make sure that they are set up for safety here on the top side.
I want to highlight Pantheon's item choice as well with the mobility and the serrated dirk. This is not items that you build in order to win the matchup, because now Abbedagge is going to begin to win these trades because he has that cloth armor, counters the serrated dirk easily. It's all about that roaming. He needs to be doing things like this. Move into top side. Go, 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 ult. Go there. Action.
He can't hear you. I know, it's the first day, I know, but he can't hear you. I just gotta let you know. Because I've been there, trust me. Sometimes you shout at him, you're like, fight! And they don't do it.
Honestly, when you're on the other side as a coach as well, you just shout at the screen. Partially to strike fear into the other coaches, because you can be loud enough.
I'm looking forward to the play-by-play breakdowns when we get to like 25-minute Baron rushes and the coach cam comes up on screen and you're like, I don't want to talk about the Baron. I want to talk about the expression on Dylan Falco's face right now. I know that one. He's thinking right now, what are they doing?
For sure. Sometimes even worse because you get to hear the players as well.
Oh no, so you know what they're doing. There's the pull in, that's going to be a clean combo, but Abbedagge gets the shield out. That's going to be the haymaker, first blood coming in. Jenax going to make it out to safety, courtesy of the Lancer in there. But won't be able to grab much else. Solid start to Schalke. They're going to move right up to this Rift Herald if they want to.
So SK found the weak link, so to speak. Abbedagge no flash, but this was a moment where Schalke had full prio on top side. Misfortune Nautilus with that Moby boots went into mid lane. It was a 4v3, simple pickup for Schalke, and they're going to be very happy. This is going to delay SK Snowball big time, and all of a sudden this game is starting to look more and more grim for SK.
Good news is Cephalios is still doing relatively all right, but obviously the gold difference just about dead even. The Herald will start to swing things in the favor of Schalke when they do finally use it, but now SK looking to contest here. This is bold. They don't have a smite in the area, but they want to take the fight anyway. This is definitely not the fight that they're looking to take, but now Pantheon ultimate is on the way in. Maybe they can get things kicked off. GP ult is there as well. All of Schalke now on the retreat. Dream's getting taken down. Abbedagge next on the list. Clean fight initiation from SK, punishing Schalke for committing to that one.
I love that SK went for that. They had to. If they gave up the Rift Herald for free, they're going to walk away with too much of an advantage. At least two kills pick up, and also some waves being pushed in. Abbedagge is going to lose some CS in the mid lane as well. I like it. They need to keep forcing. They need to be in the mindset that we're getting outscaled this game. They need to be the ones that pull the trigger.
You look back, and this play looks good at the start. The setup is there. It's perfect, but obviously once I don't think the hook actually connected there.
Yeah, I think it hit a creep or something. The big issue just was the freaking priority there. And then the team fight here. Limit walked in to tank it up with the aftershock. Managed to find the fight. Kind of weird Pantheon ult, because he was right there. He could just walk in. You know, I think maybe he could save Limit to do something better if he just kind of went into the fight. But it looked cool.
It looked really cool. That's the perk of the Dragon Slayer skin, is that no matter what else happens, you look cool throwing that spear down and coming in. And, we're now at a point in the game where I like the adjustment on the itemization coming from Jenax. He's got the Phage. You mentioned it already. The lane phase matchup is not won by lethality against the set, so we're seeing him swap over to what looks like a Black Cleaver. Extra 20% CDR when he finishes that one. But Schalke now the ones on the hunt here. Sacre, the call out is there. I think they can get something done here, but maybe it's just the Drake instead is the focus, because he's just walking away. Herald's gonna get dropped, but the creep wave a little bit far away. And it's just going to be a trade on both sides. Neither team going to find any kills. It's just going to be all about the objectives.
Well, it's a good macro decision here, considering they have the Rift Herald. To just, if they mismatch, the Rift Herald is going to do more damage, and the temp will always be in your favor.
And more money into the pocket of Odoamne as well. Already at the 20% CDR, and only to get harder to deal with him as we get further.
That's also so rough, as I mentioned before. GP not being able to buy MR convincingly is going to be super awkward. Who got the first one? Vladimir did, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
That was crazy for a moment.
But just as a trade back and forth, once again, it's just a continuous cycle for both these teams, but a 1K gold advantage building up for SK. We'll have to see if it's enough to keep them going, but that's going to be a big ult coming in from Trick, trying to get the fight kicked off. Innaxe is there as well.
Flash.
Doesn't have, or doesn't want to commit his ult, rather. Dream's going to be blocked out there, but now the fight's coming on. That's the dunk, that's the ulti as well. Trick has to run for the hills. The Haymaker will not connect. Something Abbedagge has overstayed. Lurox commit here, snipes that one out. Jenax is faced the wrong way on that shield. The body slam goes forward. Ulti comes in from Crownshot. That's the snare to escape. But Schalke getting another one back.
Yeah, Trick was out and about on the red buff there. Started off in a tricky position. I thought he was just doomed here. But then he turned around on the Dreams. Dreams had no flash here. Everyone's collapsing. I liked it in the beginning. Schalke seemed to be walking away, but then they're calling, we can fight here. Predator boots on. You see Gragas is jogging across the whole map. Kind of ironic how he can be the one jogging with the Predator. And then the deadly combination here with the bullets and the RKO out of nowhere. I liked it. I liked it.
There you go. Snipe going down. And really at this stage, Crownshot has no mana. And SK, I'm just going to guess in the comms are going, Trick, why? Why were we there? Like, what was that really ultimately worth for the team? Big commitment. Good news is Trick is still very much in this game. He's got a CS lead for himself. He's on his way to his proto belt. That is going to be one scary Diana, but mostly for the likes of Innaxe at this stage. Everyone else on the team quite tanky.
It's such a tricky game to maneuver yourself as a Diana. You want to look to snipe someone, right? You want to look for those weak targets, but now you won't need to get through a Gragas and Nautilus. There's just too much CC to get through, and itemization is so awkward.
Oh, Odoamne
had flash. Could have went.
He's going to use his ultimate there. It's not going to be the biggest loss because he's not really looking to team fight at this stage, but surprised he didn't commit completely to the all-in. Looks like they did not know where Trick was. So good patience, I suppose, to back off, but doesn't get the GP ult, doesn't get the flash, so definitely not ideal.
I think he could have killed, honestly, because he has Nimbus Cloak as well. He flashes, gets the move speed, matches the flash as well, and can walk after him and E to slow. I think this is the time to go for it. We spoke about the stakes earlier on. Go for the 1v1 kills. Those are the ones that people are going to remember walking away from this game.
Maybe Odoamne wants to go for the dive now. Can't commit the pool, obviously back up, but very difficult to do. Between the grass proc as well as the oranges, have to 100% commit to the all-in. The short trade's always going to favor that sustain on GP. But Schalke just kind of responding. Outside of Odoamne, who's very quickly starting to win this lane on the top side, the rest of Schalke kind of just forced to play back, play a bit more safe, wait for Odoamne just to get a bit more under his belt. Now has the Sork shoes coming out as well.
I think the key thing now as we're transitioning into the mid game, Schalke definitely have the stronger side lanes. Pantheon is going to lose, GP is going to lose. They can't itemize armor, can't itemize MR. So Vladimir set, very happy. In the mid lane, that's where SK need to strike. Use that outnumber, use that GP ult on that MF, start to burn some summoners because they need to force hard. Because if they give up mid prio as well, they're going to be in trouble.
Limits here. You can see Diana coming over as well. Trick might just be focused on that Raptor camp, but you have to wonder if he's going to fish for the play as well. For now, we're chilling. Yamato, we're waiting.
Bring up a chair.
You can.
We get chairs as casters?
No,
or no?
I always stand. I find
Always
as a
stand?
play-by-play caster, yeah, because I can't. It's hard to yell sitting down. Like name a great moment of anyone yelling in history where they were sitting down to yell.
I could just think of like some
oh, flash hook. We wanted it, and there it is. Dreams now getting the fight kicked off. Crownshot laying down the turret, trying to zone Innaxe away, but not enough damage to stop. Limit just getting bopped in these exchanges. Pantheon now coming in, but right into the waiting arms of SK. Suplexed back, leaps in onto Innaxe. Innaxe flashing out onto safety. Shield now falls away. The hook now comes in, and that's going to be it. Schalke ace that fight, 3-6 in kills.
So it was the big play around mid lane, but a bit of an awkward timing because everyone was in position. The waves crashed on top side, and you can see the waves are bouncing, and they just went for the mid play at a very, very strange time because everyone had prio. So it was the right play, but the moment was off because once again it's the same thing as before. Schalke walking into mid lane, Lurox and Abbedagge at the top side of the map. Then Limit gets caught here, tries to fish for a pink ward, doesn't land the hook. I guess he just didn't want me to sit down. This is them wanting us to stand up. Just starting the fight there, good Gragas barrel, and then Pantheon just way too late to the party, gets RKO'd and tries to finish someone off, but just can't pull through.
And at this stage of the game, not a mistake you can afford to keep making. Trick, buddy. There you go. He got it. Good job. One step at a time. One step at a time. Yes, yes. Celebrate the little victories. Sometimes you gotta, go for the pentakill. Sometimes you just gotta be happy with picking up a Rift Herald. We're gonna keep the camera on Trick. We just gotta make sure now we got everything he does. We're clapping for it. He backed. Yes, yes. Woo. One more time. Thank you, Berlin. Now, obviously, Proto Belt's completed. This is a very scary Diana. The problem continues to be when can Trick actually find somebody to one-shot?
It's just no matter how insanely fed he gets, there is still so much CC he needs to get through. Because he needs to get through Set, Gragas, Nautilus. If those 3 players are kind of gone and like picking mushrooms in the jungle or something, and Misfortune is all by herself, then maybe they can find some pickups. But maybe with the GP, Pantheon, Diana, some combination to one-shot MF, that could be a way in to win a fight. But very unlikely, honestly, very unlikely.
But I think Trick sees his opportunity, Yamato.
Eye of the Tiger.
Because the team, they're in the jungle. They're running through the lanes, maybe picking mushrooms, I don't know. But Trick now sees his opportunity to snipe, or his opportunity to catch Rift Herald, as SK just want to get pressure here in the mid lane. And this is their advantage. We may have started the wrong kind of meme with the clap for everything Trick does. Yes, Trick! Thank you, Berlin. But the gold's still dead even. It's still 2 Drakes. So much has happened, but so little has happened. Yamato?
That's a painting right there, Salvador Dali or something. Name of a painting.
So much has happened, but so little has happened.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit like a Jaden Smith tweet, isn't it? It's a little bit too early, 2010.
Is this game real?
How can this game be real if Trick's Rift Herald isn't real?
Yeah, where is it now?
Nobody knows. 20 minutes. No one's taken Baron this game for a long time because Outer Tower's very much still alive. Mid lane broken. Schalke not doing a lot with that pressure at the moment.
Jokes aside, this Rift Herald on mid lane is very good because the mid tower being gone gives SK the space to move further, to push further, because they should have mid prior, especially with the Hurricane purchase. So maybe SK have more room to pressure into the sides because Pantheon is suffering, GP is suffering.
Yeah, good news is, I mean, Sacre is mostly caught up, but as you can see, Deathcap is the focus. Vladimir, I'm kind of waiting now for Schalke to get this fight kicked off. Oh. Trick has been caught out. He has not found anyone alone by themselves. He is just going to get dunked down. If you're not the predator, you're the prey. So Trick's learning that one the hard way.
I just don't know what the crowd is cheering for anymore. Was it Trick on the screen or Trick dying? I can't differentiate anymore.
Don't cheer for that one. That one's BM. We don't. Even if it was untimely.
Yeah.
Now for Jenax, it's gonna be a bit frustrating. Oh, has opted to go for the stun here, but that's limited a lot of the threat. They just got GP ultimate for free. Not gonna cost them a whole lot as Abbedagge is gonna tank another tower shot. We'll sidestep back to dodge the spear. I think maybe not the best option. Trick did respawn.
Well, yeah, he's not wrong.
That's true.
Definitely not wrong.
That's something to be proud of, to be fair. As long as you can still respond, the game's not over.
GP with the... What happened?
No, it's just a really weird... We've ended up in a weird spot in this game. You were about to say something legitimate.
And then Trick was on the screen? Or what?
No, I was just laughing about like the weird philosophical quotes we keep finding. Anyway, what you're saying about GP build?
GP build. I thought he was going for the Mormal Mortius, which makes him possibly win against the Vladimir itemized executioner's calling. But now if Set goes into GP, he has a very easy time. So I think this is the switch up that I want to see.
Could also technically see it just be the Essence Reaver. It has a bit of flexibility there.
Yeah.
Now, 4-1 and 2 for mid lane. You got a 3-0-4 jungler and Odoamne, who's yet to participate in any kind of team play. But with Deathcap, I assume right around the corner, as we check in real quick on the gold. Yeah, he's good. He can get it anytime he sees fit. But Dreams has now been caught out. That's going to be the follow-up over the wall. Is going to use the ultimate. Now the Gargoyle Stone Plate as well. That is one tanky Nautilus. Just flashes out to safety. Nothing else going to get done there.
It could have been a better moment. Still has time to go base in preparation for this Infernal Dragon. Schalke, Abbedagge with the push on top. He's going to be able to be in position now to go for that Drake fight. I think Schalke will be picking that up for free.
Question is, do SK want to continue? Is this the moment where SK choose to force a fight? Now, you can think it's wrong, and that's fine. But I'm curious if they're finally going to put their resources together, because this has felt like a very disjointed game from SK. They were kind of the team that needed to be coordinated, that needed to make everything happen, and Schalke just feels like have been punishing them left and right for not being on the same page.
So honestly, it's like, sure, this moment might not be the best to fight, but what are they really waiting for? At this point, the way they win fights is if Gangplank is going to smurf and like barrel and be like all Tobias Fate, or Crownshot is going to activate his inner Reckless and going to kill everybody or something like this. And that seems kind of far-fetched. I feel like Schalke is going to win fights always in this game.
Ooh, pull back on the face breaker, not going to be there though. SK debating if they want to go in any further. But as we said, Jenax might fall off, but Crownshot is only going to get scarier and scarier. Oh, trick. Oh man, that's not a good one here for. Ulti comes in, Jenax is going to walk away. That was really bad. That was two really, really bad ultimates. Not a lot more to say than that.
Terrible, honestly.
Terrible. Oh, but that one was pretty good. Limit now caught out. Gargoyle Stone played a little bit too late, but might just be just enough to save him. Ticking down. There's Odoamne. He's finally decided it's time to play League of Legends, as he already has the death cap. Ulti damage will be denied for the most part. Odoamne now fearless. He just runs face first in the SK lineup. Schalke still dead even in gold, but are going to start to pull ahead here as they break the mid lane tower. Yamato, what did we just witness?
Honestly, I felt like they wanted to scare them away. It worked for a moment, and then Schalke kind of realized they just entered. And they just came back in. Limit was out of position. The barrel, we saw it, and Schalke pick up a mid turret on top of that dragon. That's positive, because usually teams would just rush the Drake there, pick it up, not take that mid tower. They are grabbing as much as possible when they find those opportunities. So Schalke playing a patient game and taking what they can.
Yeah, and now they're moving up to Infernal Soul, the Drake that you wanted to see. Stop for a Cloud on the way, and we look back on this play.
Oof.
And the thing about any kind of delayed ult, Yamato, is that if you're waiting on Trick to flash over that wall, and he doesn't, you're gonna look dumb. That's just how it's gonna be. So I feel bad for Jenax in this instance.
That was quite silly. At least Jenax got the plant. It looked like that was his mission. Odoamne coming from behind here. They knew Odoamne has Prio, and they kind of forgot about him, and he came in here, threw his spells into the shield, so Jenax survives. But yeah, SK need to pull a rabbit out of a hat at this point in time to do something. They need to find a kill on side, they need to outnumber, they need to sit in bushes, they need to wait, they need to force that mistake from Schalke, because right now Schalke have played a very patient game. They've been allowed to do so, and they've reached a point where they're just stronger across the board.
And sadly for SK, it's been a game of, I think, fair to say, unforced errors. Just a lot of individual mistakes in key moments, and what could have been a more explosive early game kind of stalled out now as we're dead even in gold at 26 minutes. Drake's only continue to be more of a problem as we get later. Infernal Drake.
It's not gonna stop, huh?
It's never. We've created a monster. But Baron potentially going to be on the table shortly. You have so many strong members on the Schalke lineup in terms of damage output. Not necessarily great at shredding through Baron, but a lot of sustain means they can take their time with it and not really have to worry about a fight coming into them.
I think the key thing is that you want to contest this space where Trick and Limit is hiding right now. Trash is forcing the arrows because Schalke want to face check. And when you control this space, that's the time when you can force Nasher. But they need to get through a GP ult. It's not going to be as simple as just start doing it, because if SK get access, all of a sudden they might have the dream fight they're looking for. Schalke could also just wait for the Drake, right?
I mean, that's the thing, is like, we talked about it. And look, there's always some debate about how scaling is going to work out. GP obviously scales pretty well into the late game. Diana, like, will do a lot of damage. Aphelios. But I just feel like the ease of execution is on the side of Schalke. You said it earlier, and we have to say it again. But Dreams potentially overstaying the knockback there onto Trick. Definitely a difficult day for him, but here comes Pantheon. Maybe to save the day. Trick doing a lot of damage there on the follow-up. Finally getting something done, but does go down. In the meantime, Crownshot not going to connect on the ult. Suddenly he finds himself in the midst of Odoamne. That's going to be a big problem. The Vladimir coming in. That's going to be the RKO. Maybe just enough as Odoamne can start to chase these kills down. Innaxe still alive. Abbedagge as well. It's going to be a 2 for 3 overall in favor of Schalke.
I respect Crownshot there, flashing in, flashing forward, knowing that he needs to be the one finishing the key targets, because honestly, Pantheon and Diana don't have enough damage, even with the GP ult coming down. Crownshot needed to play aggressive there. Also, I like the Trick took the decision to not take the Lantern, he just went in, because even though we're talking about how strong Schalke is at this point in time, they managed to get away with the 3-2, and these are the risks you need to take if you're SK.
Absolutely the case. Now, however, it is 2K gold lead for Schalke. Odoamne continues to get scarier and scarier. Crownshot, you know, has 3 items now. Maybe he can get something done in one of these team fights, but there's not really a ton of peel for him outside of the Thresh. Pretty much everyone on his team wants to be diving into that backline.
And now Vladimir is just getting stronger. It's just so tricky because if you're Crownshot, you need to itemize MR, but you just can't. So if we take a look at this fight again, Crownshot plays this very aggressively. You have the Lantern waiting, and everyone's just thinking this is going to be a fight where everyone walks away. But instead, Trick jumps in, tries to find the fight. Crownshot is also on the aggressive end. Usually you see Aphelios in the back line, but he's the front line because he has to. In this case, if he doesn't commit with these assassins, then they're just going to lose the fight, which happened anyway, but this was the best chance that Crownshot could take.
Flashes out of the Vladimir ultimate, plus E combo as well, I believe. So overall, making the most of it, as you said. And you look at those damage output, it doesn't feel like SK are too far behind if they can execute on a fight properly. Just need to find more of these opportunities. Sadly for them, though, GP and Aphelios definitely their scaling damage options, but the Diana not really doing a whole lot. Trick with the pullback.
No,
this might be the fight that they finally need. That's going to be a big Aphelios ult to follow. Innaxe now has to run for his life. GP ult a little bit misplaced, but the shutdown comes in right when it matters most. Limit finds the hook, but it's Abbedagge and Odoamne versus the world. You have to be careful. There's the ult, there's the turn, there's the pullback on the face breaker. Odoamne trying to get something done, but Abbedagge the last man standing. The touchdown means Crownshot's dead, and Abbedagge's got a keen way to get out of this one. Abbedagge still fighting, still fearless. The pullback, haymaker goes in, but very close fight this time around. And finally, SK are getting something done.
Now they're stepping in, they're forcing the fights, going for those 5v5s, not waiting any longer. Misfortune, no flash. Trick found the engage, straight up went for it, and they deny the freaking soul. It's such a big deal. They live to fight another day. If they continue to fight like this game might turn into something spicier than what we've seen so far.
More catches like that. And finally, a replay where it's not someone messing up. It's not a small mechanical error. Just clean execution. Jenax now going to have a spell shield as well for himself, a bit more lethality, going to be more of a threat to the MF in these fights. We can see Trick one more time in this one. The dash.
Love it. Because Seth was showing on the top side. He knows he has a window here where Seth needs a TP for 4 seconds. Pantheon comes in, finds the damage, Trick flashes out, and then the hook, the Thresh double kill. You love to see it, right? In positions where you really need gold. Thresh is getting the kills. Odoamne gets zoned off, doesn't get that perfect combination because Trick gets away and Crownshot also gets away from the Hemoplague, but then Abbedagge walks away and gets a very important kill because maybe if Crownshot doesn't die there, it turns into an Infernal and on top of that a Nash, and then maybe all of a sudden SK have a game on their hands.
Yeah, very solid fight overall. You can see Crownshot, or Innaxe rather, being deleted at the start of the fight means Crownshot just kind of got to run through that one. Excellent use of the ultimate. I am worried, though, for SK in the fights to come, and not because of scaling, just because Vladimir now has the Zanyas. So next time that fight goes through, Odo will live long enough to get the healing back from his ultimate, and that could be huge in terms of relative impact in the fight, because it's still a 6-1-4 set of Vladimir with 3 items. This is a very difficult game to play out if you're the side of SK.
It's also the fact that they are so AD heavy, something that I didn't even think about. Diana's the only AP damage, and now when the armor is starting to build on Seth and on Vladimir and on Gragas, it's going to be more and more rough because this Crownshot just needs 7 items, 8 items to be able to deal with this whole team. He needs a Last Whisper, he needs a Maw of Malmortius to survive the Vladimir. When Vladimir finally has that flash, has a good flank, and he gets on top of him, you could also deal with it maybe with a freaking Solari, that's a good buy, maybe with a Lantern. There is a lot of outplays that we need to see from SK still in order to win those fights.
And I think the scariest part is that Crownshot with items alone cannot match what Schalke are bringing to the table. That he's going to have to rely very heavily on Limit or someone else in the team to provide some sort of protection from him. Because he needs that Last Whisper. He's going to need to shred through the armor present on the side of Schalke, but he also needs the lifesteal. And as you said it, the MR and everything else just to keep himself safe. And this is the difficult part of playing Aphelios in this meta. This is why we were concerned when it was first picked, when we saw the Gragas MF response that SK were going to get the Fnatic experience where your backline is just dove over and over.
It's interesting how the meta has developed because right now we saw 2 times the 2 of the best teams in the whole world, Fnatic and G2, giving up Aphelios and planning a strategy all around it. I'm curious as to how that's going to develop over the day, because we have that big matchup at the end of the day as well.
And see if it even plays a part. How much of a shift? For now, the other pick that we were interested in, the Diana jungle, I don't feel like we've really seen it do much this game, sadly, for the side of SK.
Just kind of using it as an engage tool. It's acting as a Zac, giving a bit of damage, and so Pantheon can finish people off. Good ultimates. But yeah, I feel like usually when I run into Diana in a solo queue, it's very different, right? Because you get like 5 kills the first 3 minutes because your bot lane is inting. Diana definitely looks very different in solo queue.
Yeah, too many, the coin flip players of solo queue definitely take a lot of risks around snowball champions that they maybe shouldn't. Odoamne going in for the one-on-one. Sacre, though, trying to make his way out. Okay. Goes golden, buys a bit more time. Pantheon now on the way, and they're going to be able to pick off Odoamne. That's going to be 1 kill. That's going to be crucial. The healing is not going to come in time. SK are going to get that one. Well played by Sacre and SK. What else can they get done in the time that Odoamne is dead? That is a huge death timer. 50 seconds.
I love the fact that SK kind of realized that Schalke is doing nothing. No pressure on Nashor. SK are the ones pressuring the mid wave. And as long as Schalke aren't posturing around the Nash area, Pantheon can do this freely every time. Has an ultimate, low cooldown now on level 16. They're forcing the Nash.
Flash forward, the hook. Won't connect. Is this going to be a big throw? Innaxe obviously has the ultimate available as well. There's no Braum on the opposite side to mitigate the damage on this one. Jenax could look to come over the wall. Abbedagge with the pullback. The hook's now going in. Dreams has been caught out, but definitely not the man that you want to hit. Big MF ball means the trick is already dead before the fight even gets kicked off. But there's Sacre, there's the barrel. Unfortunately, the auto attack comes through, denies the barrel activation. Sacre definitely caught no man. Abbedagge absolutely unkillable, but 2 members is going to be enough. Shredded down. Crownshot with the crescendo just rips through that life bar. The kill will go to Sacre in the end, and Schalke taking some risks here. Yes, they deny the Baron. They might be able to get the Dragon Soul, though. SK need to be quick.
No jungler alive. 3v4 situation, though. SK can walk up onto this. They have enough time to defend it, I believe. I don't think Schalke can kill it fast enough. Abbedagge almost has TP, though. I think we're going to have a huge fight around this one. They need to wait for the players.
Might be a 1-0, but as you said, Abbedagge's TP should be up in time. But will the Dragon be dead? They can start to shred through this one. It looks like they're trying to focus it down. Just trying to burn through this as quick as possible, but will be very difficult. If Trick is not in the area, will not have Smite to contest this one. They do have a lot of burst on their champions, though. Crownshot getting lower and lower. Lurox ultimate up and available. Is just going to use it to throw back. Going in. This is one off. That's going to be Dragon Soul. Now Dreams is on the way in. Odoamne has the Infernal Soul and he's running into the back line. Abbedagge is going to come over the wall. Crownshot's now in no man's land, but this might just be a disaster. Odoamne still living, still fighting. Limit running for the hills, but Abbedagge is there and waiting, and now he has to run this team down. Crownshot needs to get out. Flash forward from Abbedagge. The face breaker for the pullback. Dunks down with the RKO. The shutdown coming out. Trick leaps in, but just to his death. Schalke smashed the fight. Lurox making it happen.
So the mini wave is quite far away, but a beautiful fight there. Lurox found the smite and then the Infernal Soul. I feel like besides the damage it does with the comet and all, it kind of a big motivator as well. As you see the sound in game, it's kind of scary, you know.
Definitely the #1 thought on their mind. Strike fear into the heart of the enemy. And a well-played fight by the side of Schalke. Disaster for SK. And we said you're playing for your life. Schalke closing it out cleanly in the end to move up to 3-11.
That was an interesting game. SK found some moments, found some fights. Schalke with patience, with the better draft, with the better composition, found themselves in a position where they actually fight as 5. Odoamne had a beautiful fight there around the dragon in the end, and Schalke's patience was the thing that won them the game in the end.
Very, very difficult game, though. I think overall, much more of a slugfest than I was expecting. I thought someone would take off, get running, but still very close all the way up until the end. As you said, it's scaling. I mean, eventually.